like that title.
Yes. Episode 2 of Gold Rush, courtesy of Jumping the Rail. This is Mark Redman, joined by my buddy Jabari Sinclair. Bari, I thought something was missing last week, and actually I had it, but I forgot to use it, and that is episode titles. I don't do that for the other podcasts that we do, really. So last week of course we did the Big Gold, the classic, the NWA. So I'm going to show you the title that I had for last week, but I completely forgot to put it on because I didn't have it in the right order. So are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right.
That was great right there.
Yeah, credit to my brother. He helped me. Yeah, when I was first spitballing titles for this show, he sent me a whole list of goofy titles. I showed them to you.
Yeah, you did.
That was one of them. DiBiase's booty is all me, but it's yeah. So it's gonna be. Oh, AJ, good to see AJ in the chat there.
All right, AJ, right. Thanks for joining us, man.
Yes, and but it's true. That was the before Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 31. That was the heist of the century.
That was the heist of the century, and Twin Magic and some more stuff.
That's right. So, I mean, I guess it's obvious what we're talking about. It's right there in the title. We're talking about the Winged Eagle, Bari.
Yep, talking about this beauty.
You got it right there. Yes. See, last week we did one that I have. I figured it was only fair to do one of yours this week. And yeah, I mean, we talked about how the Big Gold might be the perfect belt last episode. If that's the case, this one might be a very close second.
Very, very close second. Anytime I think about a WWF champion, I think about Big O. I mean, this Winged Eagle. Sorry.
Yeah. This was. It wasn't the belt that was being used when I started watching, but it was really close because I started watching late '86, early '87.
Okay.
When I was about 5 years old. This debuted in '88. So.
Right. February '88.
Yes. It was designed by the legendary Reggie Parks. There he is, right there.
Parks. Yeah.
Made belts for everybody, and just when you think belt makers, he's the guy you think of 9 times out of 10.
Exactly. And, yeah. Him and then Dave Milliken comes to mind too.
Yes. Yeah. Dave Milliken nowadays. Yeah, because Charles Crumrine that we talked about, he wasn't a belt maker. He was a belt buckle maker, like for rodeos. He wasn't a. Reggie is a retired wrestler who transitioned into making belts, and not only for like WWF, WCW, NWA, he did it for the indies too. I think he did Ring of Honor. He did. I know IW Mid-South used some of his stuff, so he was the guy for a long time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Belt making.
And he made beautiful belts.
Oh yeah, they were pristine. And as you can attest, heavy.
Yes, very, very. It feels like a championship should feel. It's heavy and it's full and it's there.
It's the kind of belt that if somebody was to hit you with it, you would believe that it would actually knock you the hell out.
Yeah, exactly. I would actually not want to get hit with this damn thing because it might kill you. You might not get up with that one.
Right. So let's get into the design to kick off here, Bari, because I found out some cool stuff here. There it is, right there. I mean, this one, I think the regular didn't have the silver accent. I think it was all gold, if I remember.
Yeah, it was all gold. Yeah.
This picture was so cool with the red felt underneath and all, so I had to use it.
Exactly. It's sweet.
Yeah. This is the overview. Here's the main plate here, and this is more like the original. Of course, they call it the Winged Eagle for a reason. There you see it. Vince liked to have the eagle on his world titles going back to the 70s.
Yeah.
Like the belt that Backlund and Pedro and Superstar had, that had the big eagle. Not the big eagle, but it had a very prominent eagle on the face of that one also.
Yeah. On the main plate, yeah, sure did.
Yeah, then the big eagle after this one which I'm sure we'll get to eventually, which is one of my favorites. And then nowadays, even with that new World Heavyweight Championship, I think there's some Eagles on there too,
Yeah.
along with I think 3 Lions. We'll get into that sometime. Hopefully after a few more people hold it, because that kind of cuts into one of our segments we do when we go through everybody that held the belt. So
Right.
if
Exactly.
there's only 1 or 2 people, it'd be a short episode.
No
So that's the main
lineage,
plate.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So here's your side plate on the left side. The side plates are real similar, just different. Looks like different holds in each plate. They got the logo very prominent. Like I think I lost count how many times the logo appears on this belt, but it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is branding 101. Get your logo out there.
Right. Exactly. Look at me and look at what I got.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because again, we talked about last week. They didn't put NWA on that big gold belt when it was made. So
No, they didn't.
So yeah, Vince he's like, let's put the WWF all over this thing, pal.
It'll be such good shit.
Yes. All right, so that's the left side. Here's the right side. Again, you can see it more wrestling holds here, a little more ornate on these plates here.
Yeah, that's great detail.
Yeah, and then the WWF Champion plate here on the tail end of it, and I found out something very interesting, Bari, that I told you I found something. I didn't tell you what it was.
Right.
And doing the research for these is very interesting. The stuff you'll figure out, because like I said, I don't research my other podcasts. This one's the one I actually do homework on. So apparently this belt was made like custom for Hogan when it was made. Like I don't know when they commissioned it. I couldn't find that kind of information, but when Reggie made this belt, originally that WWF champion plate on it looked like this. See, it's got Hogan's name on it.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to Colin Furlong on the Brothers of the Belt Facebook page for helping me find this picture and help me get to the bottom of this, because I read about something that Hogan's name was on the belt somewhere, and for the life of me, I couldn't figure out where it was. And yeah, so Colin helped me find that and sent me the picture today. And yeah, it's literally Hogan's name is on the belt.
Yeah, that's Hogan's belt. Yeah.
Yep. And he held it for what, 40 minutes?
Maybe, yeah. 35. We're being nice.
Yeah. And here you see, well, the year is different. This isn't the original belt, obviously, but it says Reggie Parks' name right there on that underside. This is a replica, but Reggie Parks' name was on the belt. A very, very fine. You couldn't find that unless you really zoomed in on it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is all stuff I learned just doing research on this show, because I didn't know about this either.
Wow.
But the belt debuted February 5th, 1988 on the big event. The
big event.
And what's funny is, and I don't know, I'm sure you noticed this, Barry, because you're a belt guy like me. When Hogan cut the promo before the match with Mean Gene in the back, he's holding he's holding the 86.
Hogan 86. Yeah, he's got Hogan 86 back there. And I remember that from being a shorty and watching that live. And I remember saying, like, wait, that's a different belt than what he's got now.
Because when he came out for the match, he had the winged eagle. But yeah, that promo he was doing with the original belt.
Yes, he had the winged eagle around his waist, and it looked so damn good.
It really did. That was a good belt night in general, because Honky debuted the IC belt after they retired the Brasso belt from Macho.
Yeah,
and
sure did.
But I think Strikeforce had these here. This is my version of the tag belt.
Yeah,
the one that was more gold, because the original tag belt that Strikeforce won was the silver one.
The silver ones, yeah, the Bulldog belts.
Yeah, the Bulldog belt, yeah. So that night on the main event, they debuted all new belts for the company, and they were all sharp. I mean, I was digging it.
Yeah, but, that trio is definitely sharp.
Oh yeah, I mean, who would have thought, a company could just have 3 championship belts in their company, and that's all they had. Not counting like the women's tag team Jumping Bomb Angels belts and Moolah's
women's, yeah, exactly, but they only had 3 prominent championships, and it worked for so long.
Until what, 97 when they brought the European title in?
Yeah, when Davey beat Owen in Germany.
Mm-hmm. Love that match, by the way.
Yes.
Plus, I love that belt. That's one. That's one I want to get a hold of a replica of. That
Yeah,
European
same
Championship.
here. Right there. Right. There's a lot of damn detail in that belt.
The green leather on there was sharp.
Yeah.
But that's for another episode, Bari. Let's talk about the angle that made the belt famous, which is Hogan and Andre in the rematch on the main event.
Yes.
There's that shisty Ted DiBiase paid the referee off, got him plastic surgery to look
Got
just
him
like Dave
plastic
Hebner.
surgery. Yeah, right. To look just like Dave Hebner and to throw the damn match. Yeah, I remember I was 4 years old and I remember watching that and I was just like heartbroken because Hogan had got cheated out of his championship.
We were shocked. I was let's see, February of '88. I was 6 years old when that happened, and I still liked Hogan to an extent. Like, Hogan was the guy when you're in grade school.
Well, yeah, exactly.
As you get older, you realize how crooked he is.
Right.
Yeah, by WrestleMania 5, I think I was over Hogan, but at this point, yeah, it was a big deal. It was unthinkable because literally for as long as I could remember watching wrestling, Hogan was the champion.
Yeah, he was.
And then on primetime TV, not even on a WrestleMania or a pay-per-view, he lost the championship on primetime television.
Yep. Either way you want to look at it, he lost. There was a referee's decision.
And I think that's still the highest rated primetime wrestling show of all time, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. 33 million people watched that.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah. So I got the picture here. What could have been? There, look at it.
Right, and they let him do a few house shows as champion and let him wear the belt and stuff. So he's got that out there. But yeah. How about had it been a Ted DiBiase year-long title run after that, man?
I guess the plan had always been to put it on Savage, but he was such a hot baby face they couldn't put him with Hogan then. So they decided to do the tournament. I am not answering the phone right now. Toll-free call. But yeah, it's they decided to do the tournament. I would have been just fine if they would have gone through with this. Let DiBiase be the champion, and then have him drop it to Savage at WrestleMania.
Exactly.
Because
have them do the chase.
But when I was a kid, I loved the tournament just because it was unheard of to do that in one night.
Definitely. I remember going to go rent that I remember going to go rent that WrestleMania 4 from the video store, and they let us take the box. And, it was 2 tapes, and you open up the box, and it was Hogan and Andre on the inside, so it felt like a big deal,
Yeah, they didn't let me take the box. I had to take it in the plastic cases. They didn't let me have the cardboard when I took it out. But yeah, that was a commitment to watch that in one night. We were kids.
Yeah, because that was to this day that's still long. Yeah.
Yeah. I know everybody talks about the recent WrestleManias before they went to 2 nights, like the one in New Jersey before lockdown, where it went from like 6 till 1 in the morning or something.
And all those people got stranded and shit. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, because New Jersey Transit shuts down at 11. The main event didn't come out till midnight.
Exactly. So, they didn't think that was real good.
Yeah, I think that's when they decided, let's do 2 nights. I think make it a little bit better. Which, by the way, I had been suggesting for like a couple of years before that, because the shows are so long, But this was the first one. The WrestleMania 4 was the first one of those, and the tournament was awesome. I loved how they told the story about Andre keeping Hogan out of the tournament by getting him DQ'd.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That way, and that just made DiBiase look like a genius because he got Andre out too.
Exactly. Well played, DiBiase.
Well played indeed. But everybody knows how the story goes. DiBiase and Savage meet up in the finals of the tournament. And look at that. There you go.
And that was the end result. And how cool was it? He had 4 matches and he had 4 tire changes. That was awesome too.
Yeah. So did Liz.
Yeah, Liz.
They were both prepared. I can't imagine how heavy his suitcase was with all those robes in it.
All them damn robes, exactly.
Because those robes were heavy. The big
Yeah, they are.
bejeweled kind of. I would assume they probably brought those for him in a wardrobe case or something. Because that's what they would do now. But
yeah, I would think so. Having to tote that damn thing around.
right. But yeah, it was Butch Reed, Valentine, One Man Gang, and DiBiase, I think, was his 4 that he had to go through.
Yep, that was his 4. And then DiBiase only had Duggan.
Yeah,
Duggan and Morocco.
Duggan and Morocco, because he got the bye because of Andre and Hogan.
Yep.
And yeah, it was just crazy. And I was hoping that would lead to DiBiase getting the belt back, because and we're going to get to this. We're going to discuss the best that never held the belt, and DiBiase is at the top of my list, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. I guess technically he did hold the belt. I mean, there's the picture, but he was
exactly
as the recognized world champion. That's what I'm saying.
Right, to be in the record books as world champion. He bought the championship, so but in my opinion, it doesn't matter how you attained it. If you held it, you held it.
That crooked Jack Tunney had the belt cannot be forfeited, purchased, or otherwise procured. It has to be won by pinfall or submission.
That damn Jack on the take Tunney.
Best president since Noriega, I think Heenan called him.
Will you be serious?
Oh, the brain. That poor guy spent so many years trying to get this belt.
Exactly.
Off of Hogan.
Yeah.
But between Hogan and Warrior, he just could not get a hold of it.
Couldn't get a hold of it, to say this.
But, I think he may have gotten spoiled by Bockwinkel in the AWA being the world champion for as often as he was in the 70s.
Exactly.
When he was managing him.
Exactly.
But, yeah. So, Savage wins at WrestleMania 4, holds it for a full year, which, to my knowledge, I think is the longest reign of anybody with this belt. I don't think anybody else held it.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Holds it till WrestleMania 5. They do the big heel turn for Hogan when he turned heel on Savage and tried to steal his woman and all that. But that gets me in trouble when I say that.
That lust in his eyes, brother.
He had lust in his eyes.
That was some good
AJ.
That was some good television. And I went back actually a few years ago and I watched that entire storyline. And I was like, man, this was good. And it could have been so much better with a few tweaks here and there. But that was a hell of a storyline right there. The Mega Power.
Yeah. Just a slow burn, because it started at SummerSlam after they won the match, when the jealousy started kind of bubbling just a little bit. Then the Survivor Series when Hogan's handcuffed and not making the tag, so Savage gets his ass kicked, and then throws Savage out of the Rumble, and then that main event with the Twin Towers.
Then that main event with the Twin Towers. Yep.
I've seen all of Hogan's bad movies. That was the worst acting I've ever seen him do when he was in the trainer's room with Elizabeth.
God, thank God you're okay. Thank God. Shut up, Hogan.
Then there was the classic, "What's the time, brother?" They called him on live TV asking the director how much time until they went live.
Yeah.
It just showed up on the air like he didn't know they were on the air. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's just Hogan doing Hogan things, I guess.
This is very true. Very true. WrestleMania 5, for my money, except for WrestleMania 17, my favorite WrestleMania. Mania 5 is one of those manias that I can sit down and I can watch from start to finish and not be bored. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They got a little bit of everything. They had a little bit of the spectacle with the Piper's Pit thing. They had Run DMC out there, but the matches overall were really good. Not just the main event, but going all the way down the card. Rockers and Twin Towers and Hogan, Warrior and Rude, perfect. Come on.
Yeah, the tag team title match was good.
Yeah. Little Gaga, not lazily or overbooked. Just a simple handicap match. Fuji took the fall as he should.
As he should.
Yeah, but that main event though, to this day is my favorite match Hulk Hogan ever had.
Yeah, it actually it told a story right here. It told a story, and he stuck to it.
Yeah, and match almost didn't happen, Bari, because Macho had a pretty bad staph infection in that elbow. That's why it was wrapped up like it was.
Wrapped up. Yeah. I knew it was something. I didn't know it was a staph infection though. Wow.
Staph, yeah. I guess like even day of they weren't like they were thinking about what if we have to change this because they didn't know if he was. But you know, Savage is a pro. He's just wrapped it up tight and said, "I'm good." And,
right.
He went out and did the favors for Hogan. I don't know if I needed. I didn't like that Hogan was someone to beat Savage, but you knew it was going to happen. It was the chase, Hogan chasing Savage.
Right.
Yeah, Savage with a good long run as a heel would have been awesome if they would have given him another 6 months with the belt, and then maybe SummerSlam have him drop it to Hogan. I would have been happy with that too.
And see, they may have been experimenting with that right there because I have a fun fact to throw in. During Savage's reign in early '89, they were experimenting in the house shows on the East Coast with he and Warrior doing the title matches.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they may have been thinking about it, but then they seen how much of a stinker those matches were. Probably was like, yeah, screw this.
Yeah, hey, that's what killed the Hogan Flair match at Mania 8 was the house shows.
Yeah, with the house shows, exactly. So I'm almost guaranteeing that was going on. And I actually was watching an old episode of Superstars the other day. And I had caught that. It was one of the episodes that people put on YouTube, and it's got the full commercial and everything. And I ended up catching it. I said,
nice.
That happened. I said, wow, okay. So
like
that would have been cool to
do. When they do the commercial plug in the house shows with the, like for us, it'd be at the Prairie Capital Convention Center with.
Exactly. Yeah. It was one of them deals. And I said, "Oh wow, this is cool." But Minder said, "No, well, Minder, he held Big Eagle, so we got to talk about him at some point."
No, Winged Eagle. There is. You don't want to get that confused. Big Eagle is the different one.
Winged Eagle, exactly. Big Eagle, right? Big Eagle is the step up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. Our buddy Dwayne put a Facebook post out asking a belt question about the Big Green today. So that got me thinking that's one that we're gonna have to cover at some point. But
yeah.
I mean, just bleh, she says.
Yeah. We love you too, Menders.
Oh yeah. So Hogan holds the belt. I'm just trying to keep up on this. So actually, Hogan holds the belt for under 364 days because he only held it from April 2nd to April 1st. So that's why he didn't hold it as long as Savage.
Yeah.
Savage was over a year. Savage was like March 27th, 88 to April 2nd, 89.
April 2nd,
so
yeah.
He had a year plus. Yeah. But April 2nd, for my money, the second best match Hogan ever had. And I'm sorry, Menders, it was against the
Ultimate Challenge. I mean, like, that's taking it back 30 years, and hey, we were kids, and that's two baby faces
that was a big deal.
colliding there, and it's like, oh man,
I couldn't fathom the idea of both those guys as baby faces going, because I couldn't picture Hogan holding the Intercontinental belt, and then number two, there was no precedent for who would hold both belts. What would happen?
Exactly.
But,
I don't think they knew.
No, they had to wind up going with the tournament, putting on Perfect. But I think my favorite thing about Mania 6, besides that match and, well, I do like Robert Goulet singing of "Oh Canada," but Hogan, Vince's intro, the opening video thing with the constellations.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Vince going full Mr. McMahon.
Full throat burn.
Yeah. AJ China, only good match Warrior ever had. I don't know. He had some good ones with Rude.
I'm about to say Rude. Rude pulled a real good cage match out of him. Yeah, and Macho.
Macho at Mania 7. I'll take that one too.
And then he and Rude at SummerSlam 90 in the cage was good too.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. That's who I think should have taken the belt off Warrior. All due respect to Sergeant Slaughter, I think it should have been Rick Rude.
And maybe had he not got fired or left the company late in '90, maybe that would have been the case.
Yeah. Problem is Hogan wouldn't work with him.
Yeah, that's true.
I wonder if Hogan was maybe self-conscious because Rude had a better physique than Hogan did as far as being cut.
Right. Exactly.
You never know. But it's so Warrior. Not only did Warrior hold the championship for almost a year, he was the first guy that I saw really fully customize the belt. I mean, Macho put
Custom.
Velcro on
Yeah.
it. Macho
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
Velcro on it when he had it, which makes for another question, Barry. I'm gonna. I know we talk about jumping the rail all the time. Uh, we're gonna go kind of on a little bit of a tangent here. How do you feel about Velcro on the belts?
I don't personally. I don't like it, but I understand why they do that. It's a whole lot easier to just throw a couple of Velcro straps on each side and have it like that than opposed to the buckles. But I'm used to the
Right.
buckles and the straps, so that's what I
Snaps,
came up
yeah.
on. Yeah, and I need to at least see the outside of the belt have snaps
Yes.
and straps. At least do
Yeah,
that.
I agree. Yeah. Just doctor it up a little bit so it looks like there's snaps on it. I'm okay with it because Macho started it in '88. It's not like it was just a spur of the moment thing. It's like, oh, we're gonna put Velcro on this, but I mean, they tried it before and it worked. Yeah, I prefer the snaps in general, but yeah, the Velcro I don't really have too big of an issue with.
Like I said, I understand why they do it, but at the same time, like on TV, it just looks tacky.
Especially when they're cutting promos and you hear the Velcro ripping when you get the belt
Yeah.
stuck together. Like when the Usos do the thing where they're clapping the belts together, you could every time the straps on each one would get tangled up in the Velcro, and they'd have to pull them apart again, and then you'd hear it, and that sound of Velcro ripping is like nails on a chalkboard to me. So that's a little silly. But
right.
no, Warrior so here he is with the original, the Winged Eagle with the black strap, which is why mess with a good thing if you ask me. But he goes on, makes it blue.
He has blue.
This is the SummerSlam belt.
Yeah.
I think it's almost. I think he changed it for every major pay-per-view.
Yeah.
This was SummerSlam.
He did.
This is Survivor Series when he had
Survivor
the
Series. And then Rumble was the purple.
Rumble, here you go, the purple belt, which made it really.
Which is my favorite. My favorite.
That was your favorite?
My favorite color. Yeah. That was my favorite color. Was the purple. I liked it.
Okay. Well, it still has an air of regalness to it, But the Rumble is when Macho cost Warrior his belt.
God, Jesus, that was he knocked his head off with that damn scepter shot. Yeah, that was personal.
Yeah, that scepter looked like it weighed 30 pounds.
Yeah, and he took it and he swung and he was Mark McGuire that day.
The first attack earlier in the match when Warrior chased Sherry up the ramp and then Savage blindsided him.
Yeah,
that was some of the most ridiculous work I've ever seen because he kicks him, then he runs and picks up the lighting thing and runs
the light pole, throws it on him.
It's like in the cartoons when people try to barricade doors and they bring over all the chairs and the tables and they're just running back and forth. That's what it reminded me of when he had that big lighting stand. So it's a little ridiculous.
Damn it, Macho!
It's ridiculous. Oh, that Macho! And then he ran away. Wasn't in the Rumble because I guess Warrior wanted to kill him.
Right.
Probably wanted to give him a receipt for that scepter shot. But an unusual sight here, Bari, is the purple belt, but with Slaughter.
With Slaughter, exactly.
I was okay with Slaughter being the champion, but he looks weird holding a purple belt.
A purple belt, exactly.
It doesn't exactly go with the outfit.
Promo pictures with that. Yeah, and he took promo pictures with that belt. I believe the belt wasn't the belt purple with him and Hogan for WrestleMania 7?
On the Mania poster, yeah.
Yeah.
Which looked like a sore thumb. It was just sticking out.
Yeah.
But thankfully, eventually they gave him the regular one. So there you see him with the black strap on there.
Look at him, a tin HUD.
Oh, look at that guy. This saying, "Pull my finger, maggot."
Oh, Sarge.
So purely transitional. I guess they didn't want to go with another Warrior Hogan match at Mania, which I get. Plus, they had Macho and Warrior in the chamber for it. Did
Right.
you ever hear the story about the original plan? If it wasn't going to be
Yeah,
Slaughter?
they were gonna be at the L.A. Coliseum, right?
Yeah.
Or because
then they didn't
and then
sell enough. And
they didn't sell enough tickets, and then they wanted to, and then they didn't sell enough tickets, and they wanted to say that it was because of Slaughter and bomb threats.
Yeah,
right?
That's what they were saying. Hey, that's working with the gimmick, you know. But
it really is. It really is. I went to school with several people whose dads were in the army and stuff like that, and God, the heat Sergeant Slaughter had was ridiculous, man. Oh my goodness.
My dad hated it. He hated wrestling anyway, but yeah, when we would be watching Slaughter, he'd be like, "Get that shit off my TV." But apparently Slaughter wasn't the original choice to wrestle Hogan at Mania. It was supposed to be Uncle Fred.
Uncle Fred, yeah.
And if you believe what Bruce Pritchard says, and you always take what Brucey says with a grain of salt, it was supposed to be Hogan versus Sheik Tugboat. Tugboat was going to be with Adnan. He was going to be a Sheik, and he was going to be a heel. It was way before Typhoon.
Right.
But I guess they came to their senses like, hey, we got Slaughter. Imagine, because, I mean, it's like you said, nuclear heat for Slaughter. He's an American hero.
It really was because,
he sympathizer.
Exactly. Now all of a sudden, you're right. You're shaking hands with Hussein.
I think that might have been Photoshop, but Adnan was for shoot a friend of Saddam Hussein's when they were growing up.
Yeah, they went to school. Yeah, they went to grade school together.
Yeah, and I guess Saddam tried to get Adnan to come back to Iraq as like a national hero when he was wrestling in the AWA, but Adnan's like, "Nah, I'm good here."
Really?
Kept working for, because they never had a falling out or anything. It was just Adnan came to America to wrestle back in the whatever it was, the 60s or early 70s. But Saddam kept trying to get him to come back and be like their national wrestling champion or whatever it was.
Well, hey, smart choice, Adnan, not going back.
Right. Yeah, because you never know. But yeah, so WrestleMania 7 was kind of a debacle overall. There was some good stuff. The Warrior Savage match obviously was the best match of the show.
That was good. The opener was good too.
The opener was good. What was it? The Rockers and Faces of Fear, right?
Yep.
Before they were the Faces of Fear, it was Haku and Barbarian.
Right. How
did you feel about Regis on the main event doing the commentary with Gorilla and the Brain?
Regis has always been a very fun individual, and he was having fun there in the main event.
And also,
he knows a little bit about
way back.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting ready to say. He knows a little bit about wrestling too. So, and he's always had people come, people come on the show and everything.
Yeah, well, even back in the day when he was in, I think, San Diego, he'd have Blassie on his show all the time, and they became buddies.
Oh, really?
So that's where it started. Yeah, and then when he got the Kathy Lee show, he wanted to bring wrestlers on all the time. He like Hogan and Warrior, Yokozuna, I think Diesel and Michaels were on once before SummerSlam one year.
Yeah,
so he was always. Yeah. So you could tell he was having a ball. But
I remember the episode with him and Corny. With the neck brace.
Yoko was there.
Yeah, Yoko. Yeah,
he was. Yeah, Corny was still selling Bullet Bob's Pile Driver from Smoky Mountain. Bless Corny. Man. Bless Jim Cornette.
Good times.
Good times indeed. So, as usual, we're flying off the rails. It wouldn't be the Jumping the Rail podcast network if it wasn't. Exactly. So Slaughter drops it to Hogan. Hogan holds it until November. Has a little run with Slaughter at SummerSlam. They fire the Warrior because they hold Vince up for money. And then, let's see, who's this guy? Look at that.
Oh, that jobber right there.
Oh, yeah, right? No. Ole Anderson said Ole said he would never draw a dime. When he
never draw a dime, exactly. Right, some tall redhead.
Texas Red, if you will, from another life.
Eat your words, Ole, because This kid came in and he went up from there.
Vince had this is kind of like how Ted DiBiase was, because Vince had the gimmick in his head, but he didn't have the right guy for it yet. But then when Taker came available, he pitched it to Undertaker. And then icing on the cake was Paul Bearer, because Percy Pringle was a licensed mortician.
Yep.
So that's how they were able to get all the caskets and everything.
And it just worked.
Yeah. Plus, he'd managed Taker in Texas when he was Texas Red, Punisher, whatever gimmicks he was using at the time. I still feel bad for Taker. His first match ever was with Brody.
Yeah. That's rough.
Kind of trial by fire there. Good luck, kid.
Exactly. You right. You damned if you do and you damned if you don't. And if Brody's in a bad mood, oh boy.
Oh, yeah. Ask Luger.
Right.
Yeah. So, controversy around this match here with Taker and Hogan at Survivor Series. Flair interfered with the chair.
Worst tombstone ever.
Yeah, not great. Yeah. Menders. Yeah, hey, me too. He was a scary dude.
Yeah.
When he first showed up. I
remember watching Survivor Series. Yeah, I remember watching Survivor Series as a kid on tape and seeing him. I was like, "What the hell is that? What is that?"
Yeah, Brother Love was an odd choice for his manager to start with.
It really was.
Yeah, I mean, he was on a team with DiBiase and Rhythm and Blues. Why not have him come out with Jimmy Hart for the first little bit? Then when they get Paul Bearer in, they can do the switch. But I don't know. That's just me. Notice I love Brother Love, but yeah, he was just an odd. I didn't like him as a manager. I liked him better just doing the Brother Love show,
Right. Well, and then it's like Brother Love and The Undertaker. Which one of these things doesn't sound like the other?
Right. I know they were buddies because, Bruce, I think, worked with Taker a little bit in Houston when he was coming up.
Yeah, in Houston,
so they knew each other. But
down there in Bosch territory.
Yes. Yeah, Paul Bosch. Best payday in the business, from what I hear. All the other guys might have been crooked as a $3 bill, but I guess Paul was always fair with the payouts and everything.
Oh, yeah, down to the penny.
That's right. So, controversy on this one. So they had the rematch at Tuesday in Texas, in San Antonio. Like, what was it? 4 days later.
Yeah, and, something like that.
It was like right after Survivor Series.
Yeah, but, I think Survivor Series was on a Wednesday, and this was on a Tuesday. So what? 6 days?
Well, no, it was on a Thursday. It was on Thanksgiving, so it would have been on Thursday.
Was it? Oh, yeah. My mistake.
So yeah, so it was a little less than a week later. They do the Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view. Of course, Hogan cheats. Big surprise.
Ashes to the eyes and a roll-up.
Throwing the ashes in the eyes, and then Tunney was at ringside too. He was there to make sure nothing crooked happened. And great job.
And then and then crookedness happened, and then there was Flair, and there was an urn and a roll-up, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then Tunney says fuck it and just holds the belt up, makes it vacant.
Yeah.
And then so they decide, hey, let's do the Royal Rumble, have the winner win the title. Which actually I like that idea. I thought that was
greatest Royal Rumble ever.
Bar none, best Royal Rumble match of all time. Just the list of Hall of Famers in that match is insane.
God, exactly. Hogan and Flair and Sid, Savage, Piper, Martel, Tatanka, Bulldog. Yeah, Kerry,
Tito,
DiBiase, Haku.
Yeah. And then
it was definitely a who's
Justice. Yeah.
Sid, yeah.
But then and I like Sid, but yeah, he's not the strongest worker back then.
No, he'd rather play softball, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I like softball too, but if I'm getting paid a lot of money, I'm gonna. But no. So after it's all said and done, Flair. This is the match that got Flair over because they had him going hour.
He went.
But the only way Vince is going to let anybody go an hour is in the Rumble.
Exactly. God, he went and Heenan was right along with him on the commentary.
Oh man, he was so good on the call on that match.
No, damn it!
It's like watch your mouth.
Watch your mouth.
The WrestleMania 8 match with Savage was almost as good for Heenan.
Yeah. There was a whole lot going on there. Yeah, there was a whole lot going on there in that match. Like a lot.
Yeah. That's another story, but actually we might get into that a little bit later on because that does fall under the lineage. But yeah, so here you see it. Look at that. It looks just natural. Ric Flair
it looks good
around his waist. I mean, it's no big gold as far as being synonymous with him, but I mean, come on.
And what did he say?
Ric Flair in your company. What did he say,
Bari? And what did he say? With a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment of my life. Well, here, let me. I'm gonna hold it like how he was holding it in my life.
And that was huge because that's him putting that belt over after being hold that big gold for so long. But that was him putting that title over as the most important thing in the business, which that's just good business right there.
Exactly.
And, let's see. So he wins that in January, March, WrestleMania 8. He drops it to Savage, and overbooked like crazy. Hennig's all over the place. Liz comes out
all over the place, and I'm thinking that at the time I'm like, why is it? Who's the referee, and why is it Macho knocking the shit out of Perfect? And now I know. I know why now because of that insurance policy. But at the time I didn't like. Why is he just running around here doing what he wants to do?
Right. I mean, the jacket was lit though. The Mr. Perfect jacket with the. But no, you saw young Shane McMahon is a official in the suit trying to chase Liz. Not doing a great job of selling with the hand gestures and everything. I just watched this over the weekend, so it's very fresh in my mind. But he was just a baby. He was maybe 21 years old, give or take.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
And Liz comes out and she's getting involved, and then Flair got color, which pissed Vince off.
Right,
It's Flair. Flair could sneeze and get color.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's Flair at a big title match at a big event. Like he's got to get color.
Oh yeah. Plus,
and it looks good.
Got the gold outfit on, so he's got to get the blood on Macho's gear so it sticks out a little bit more.
Yeah.
I love that match though. Flair and Savage. I could watch those two wrestle all day.
Me too.
Going back to WCW also when they traded the title there. But they had a really good feud over the belt after Savage won it. He had the match with Warrior at SummerSlam, but Flair was involved in that too. Then again,
that was another match that had a whole lot going on for no reason. Really there because they ended up being a no contest, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, Savage lost by countout.
Okay.
Because of interference.
Yeah. Bullshittery.
Yeah, bullshittery. There you go. But I'm trying to remember the exact date when Flair won the belt back. I think it was in September.
Yeah, because it was in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and he won it. Razor Ramon debuted and helped him. They took out Savage. I think it was on TV. It wasn't on a pay-per-view. I think it was like
I think it may have been on a house show. It was on a house show, and then they showed it either on Superstars or Challenge. I remember seeing that. Yeah.
But again, that was solely transitional. Flair didn't hold it for maybe 3 weeks, I don't think. This is when they were transitioning. They were going into the new generation kind of thing, getting away from the Hogans and the big bodybuilder type guys holding the belt, because I know the steroid trial was creeping up on them a little bit. So in October in Saskatoon, which is one of my favorite cities to pronounce, Saskatchewan. There you see the Hitman.
Yeah, my mama's favorite wrestler.
That's your mom's favorite wrestler? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Hogan might have been the first, and he probably held it the most times. I think he held it 6 times. Bret Hart is the one I most associate with the Winged Eagle title belt. Absolutely.
And then, when Bret won it, it definitely was a passing of the torch, and we're going into the new generation. So it felt like that too. Bret was a fighting champion. Jesus Christ.
Oh man, he defended against everybody.
Yeah.
Like every show, it seems like he was putting that belt on the line. Everybody talks about the WrestleMania match with Shawn or the Survivor Series 97. That match they had at Survivor Series 92 is a classic.
92, yeah, man.
I think it's the best match they had.
Yeah, and, that match saved that show.
Yeah. Oh man, that show was so bad. I mean,
so
Perfect
bad.
and Savage against Razor and Flair was okay.
No, it was okay, but what the hell was going on there? Like they were all over the place.
It's kind of yeah. There's no words. Nails and Boss Man and the nice stick on a pole match. You got Kamalu and Taker. There was, we talk about Tony putting a lot of gaga unnecessarily in his matches on his pay-per-views. That Survivor Series 92 is right up there.
Yeah, it was. It was. Yeah, okay.
Stipulations and that.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, we got high energy in the head shrinkers and we got the debut of Yokozuna as well, but we got a bunch of bullshit too.
Oh, Yoko almost killed Virgil.
Yes, he did. God.
I don't know how he was able to do that bonsai drop safely and never actually hurt anybody. Because, I mean, gravity itself is the motherfucker.
Yeah, it is. He would land feet first, then then the ass would drop. So, yeah.
Either way. I wonder if there's somebody he didn't like if he got a little more snug with it.
I've seen video, where the feet slid down instead of going flat. So yeah.
I mean, granted, he's barefoot, so you never know.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I love Yoko. And speaking of, so Brett holds it for 9 months, 8 months. I think closer to 8.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 9. As Gorilla calls it, the miscarriage of justice.
The miscarriage of justice, exactly.
Fuji with the salt in the eyes, classic Fuji, And if Macho had the longest reign, which is a year plus, I think Yoko had the shortest reign.
The shortest.
About, I don't know, at 3 minutes.
3.5 minutes, yeah.
Good old Hogan had to come out and say, hey, brother, I mean, come on.
Hey, this didn't work for me, brother. Let me get in there and get one more reign.
Who did that help?
Nobody, right?
Squash Yoko in 3 minutes.
Exactly. All that did was stroke Hogan's ego, and that's all that was. That's all that was. I remember seeing that and being disgusted. I said, "What?" I remember, I was like 8, 9 years old. I said, "What the fuck is this?" to myself, but why is he back? Yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, because
why is he back?
It's like he was like, "Hey, I think Yoko would get over more if he beat me for the belt, brother." So then they said, "Oh, put the belt on you in WrestleMania. Then King of the Ring will have you beat you again on the way out." Oh, AJ's
exactly.
Right. Biggest example. That don't work for me, brother. Yeah.
You're exactly right, AJ. You're exactly right. Right, and I believe he promised Brett the match at SummerSlam, and he never came through with that.
Yeah, which that might have been Vince though.
Yeah, looking back on it now, it could have been.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Hogan was on his way out, but didn't tell Brett that he was going to be gone by then. But Hart definitely got the short end of the stick on that deal because
definitely
he had to wait a solid year to get the belt back.
Yeah, he did.
He had him start the thing with Lawler, which was awesome. I love the feud with Jerry Lawler. Don't get me wrong.
Ah, Jesus, right. That feud went damn near 3 years though.
Yeah. Yeah, from 93 to 95, because they did the Kiss My Foot match. But no, so Yoko, he basically just ran roughshod over everybody.
God, like a big man champion should.
That's right. Monster heels are so fun. Speaking of overbooked fiascos, should we talk about the casket match the Royal Rumble?
Listen. As a kid, I fucking loved I loved that feud between Yoko and Taker. I loved it. As a kid, I thought it was just the coolest shit ever. Then we get to the match, and
then the bell rang.
Then the bell rang, and the actual in-ring action was okay.
Yeah.
But then when the people started, when the people started coming out, and
10 heels came out to help Yoko.
And I was like,
I
I said, why is Bam Bam there? Why is Double J there? Why do you have Diesel in this? Who's associated with Fuji? Yeah, I get Crush. I get Kabuki and Tenryu. I get that too.
Those are Fuji's guys. The head shrinkers are his cousins, so I get that.
Yeah,
we didn't know that at the time, but hey, they look like they're all Samoan, or whatever. So
exactly.
I will say this though: Undertaker and Yoko gave me the scariest moment I ever saw in wrestling, and I'll bet you know what I'm talking about. Survivor Series '93. When Yoko's going for the bonsai drop and Taker just sits up.
Yeah, it was like
a split second before Yoko came down. He could have killed him if he was even just a hiccup late. And I watched that after. I didn't watch it when it happened in '93. They didn't have the videos at our video store, so it wasn't until long after. And I watched. I was like, I almost threw up. I was like, oh shit! He almost made him Bugsy Bogues size. But yeah, so that was the start of their feud. Royal Rumble, then Taker takes his time off. Doesn't come anywhere near that title for another 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
So Yoko holds it through Mania. Brett gets it back. They do the whole convoluted Brett and Luger double win at the Rumble, and then they have 2 matches at WrestleMania for the titles. I love Mr. Perfect in that Luger-Yoko match, though.
Well, they had to do something because there was no way in hell that Lex Luger was beating Yokozuna at WrestleMania for the WWF Championship. If he didn't beat him at SummerSlam, huh? Yeah,
he thought he was apparently. He was.
Yeah, he thought
I guess he was telling people at the bar the night before.
Yeah, but no, buddy boy, if you didn't win at SummerSlam, you wouldn't win at Mania.
No, they wanted Luger to be their new Hogan, but it just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And I like Luger overall, but I just couldn't get into the Made in the USA Luger, Narcissist was okay. I was a total package guy, That was my Luger.
Yep.
So, but so I love Perfect as the referee in that match because he literally did nothing wrong.
Nothing.
He called that match down the middle, but they tried to play him off like a heel because he disqualified Luger. But yeah, Luger's the one that threw the referees in the ring. Luger's the one put his hands on Perfect. So yeah,
exactly.
It makes sense.
You can't do that.
Yeah, I don't know why Perfect's whole outfit was striped, but that's a story for another time. AJ, exactly. I agree. Heel Luger better than face Luger, definitely. 89 heel Luger with the U.S. title is my favorite heel Luger. While Flair was going with Funk, then Luger was defending with like Steamboat and all those guys.
Right. Okay.
But,
okay. I like 91 Luger, world champion Luger.
Oh, okay. Hardy Race Luger.
He and Sting going at
Ron Simmons.
Right. Yeah. The Halloween Havoc
match.
Yeah.
Ron had Dusty in his corner. I think that is my favorite. Well, I have 2 favorite Luger matches. There's that one, and then the one he had also Halloween Havoc with Pillman in '89.
Okay, yeah. I remember that.
The U.S. title.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that, AJ chiming in. Babyface Luger with the bus and shit walked so Cody Rhodes could run today. He's not wrong.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong at all, buddy. You are exactly right.
Yeah. Right. All right. So Yoko defends the belt twice at Mania, loses it in the main event to Brett. Brett lost to Owen earlier in the show, which is match of the night, match of the year, if you ask me, in '94.
Yeah.
And then they put Brett on the back at the top of the card again, and until November at Survivor Series. What is it about Brett getting screwed over at Survivor Series?
It's something about Survivor Series,
97. I mean,
got it right. It's right. If you want to go further back, hey, you can look at 89 and 90. He was the last man to get eliminated by Macho Man in 89, and then 90, he was the last man to get eliminated by DiBiase. So, yeah. Not been kind to him at all.
Bari. Yeah.
God.
But here you go. Mr. Bob Backlund. I loved the story, though. He kept saying he never lost the title because Arnold's going through the towel in on the match with
the yeah.
So when he went nuts and turned heel, because he was a babyface at first, like he was still doing the white babyface stuff, but finally something just snapped in him and he went nuts, and then he started saying he was still the world champion.
Remember, he had the match with Brett on was it Raw?
Yeah.
Right. He and Brett had a banger on Raw, and then at the end of the match, he snapped in. He slapped the shit out of Brett, put him in the chicken wing.
The crossface chicken wing.
Yes.
In '94, I was terrified of the crossface chicken wing. The way he put that move over.
Yes.
But yeah, so he gets the belt. He's in all his glory there. Owen's the one that put the screws to Brett on this one because he made his mother throw in the towel. Oh my God!
He cried like a little bitch to Helen. Mom, please! God. He's gonna rip his arm off. Throw the towel in.
Stu wasn't having it. He was like,
"No, he wasn't.
Don't throw a towel in.
If you throw that towel in him right now, you bum it. Yeah. Tear the arm off then. If you throw that towel in.
If he loses, he had it coming.
Yeah. And that's it right there.
But Owen was just so good at everything.
Yes, he was.
And just, well, I don't know if I agree with this. Again, Backlund was purely transitional because he held it for, I think, another 6 days.
3 days.
3 days. Okay.
It was 3 days. Yeah.
So yeah, it was just Vince. I don't think Vince wanted Diesel to go over Brett, so they put it on Backlund for a Madison Square Garden house show, and there you see him. This was my guy when I was a kid in high school.
Hey, you know what? Mine too. I was like, man, Big Daddy Cool was so fucking cool,
awesome.
Dude. Like,
He beat Mr. Backlund in 8 seconds at the Garden. Let me see. He's specifying. AJ saying it was his first run. He's talking about. That was Vince Sr. saying, "Fuck it, that's what I want." That was Vince Jr. didn't want Backlund. Vince Sr. said, "Fuck superstar Billy Graham. I'm making Backlund my champion, even though superstar was still red hot." But that's
and you'll win this day.
Yeah.
Right. You won. Right. You'll win this day, and you'll lose this day.
Yep. I heard the interview with Keith Elliott Greenberg on Busted Open. Almost at the end, he's like, "Hey, wait, make me a babyface. I'm getting over." It's like, no.
Right. No, exactly right.
You're a handshake guy.
Yeah, you're losing the belt in 5.5 weeks regardless, but we ain't doing shit with you.
Right. Yeah, because that was like Vince Sr.'s last big call was to put the belt on Backlund and keep it on for 5 years. Which, Senior was into the old school guys like your Brunos, your Pedros, your Backlunds. They always say Superstar was 20 years ahead of his time. He really was.
He really was.
Popped up 5 years. If he would have popped up 5 years later, Vince would not have needed a Hulk Hogan. He would have made Superstar his guy.
Exactly.
But that's neither here nor there. We'll talk a lot more about Superstar when we do Jumping the Rail next Tuesday. We're going to get into him. But yeah, let's back to Diesel. I love Diesel. His glaring shortcomings in the ring were missed by me when I was in high school.
Exactly.
I mean, the jackknife looked cool. The gear looked cool. I loved the music. You go back and watch those matches. The ones with Sid in your house, Mabel at SummerSlam.
Mabel.
The only good matches he had was Shawn and Brett. I'll even give Jarrett a pass because those were watchable. But his only really good matches were with Taker, Shawn, and Brett.
And I remember. Do you remember the Sunday morning show Action Zone?
I do.
He had a title defense against Owen Hart that was really good too. That was on the Action Zone.
Oh, I think I might have missed that one, but I remember what it was. Actually, it was Mania. It wasn't Action Zone. It was WWF Mania.
Was it Mania? Okay.
The one on Saturday?
No, the one on Sunday.
Oh no, that is Action Zone then. Okay.
Okay.
Mania was Saturday. Action Zone was Sunday.
Right.
But yeah, if you put Diesel in there with good workers, he's fine. But Vince kept putting him in there with monsters for some reason. Because there's a great way to put over your 7 foot, 300-pound champion is to put him in with guys bigger than him.
Exactly. God, he had a stinker with Yokozuna too. I remember that on a VHL, right on the Coliseum home video. He had a
I
stinky
don't
with
think I saw
Yoko.
that one.
I think it was like
AJ,
2 moves and a big boot, and that was it.
Hey, AJ says 6 moves, so I'll take the under on that. But sidewalk slam, big boot, snake eyes, and power bomb was just about all he needed.
Hair flip.
And the hair flip. That's right. And the step over the top rope. He was the first guy I saw do that after Andre. I mean, I'm sure. In hindsight, I know Giant Gonzalez and Mabel did it, but Diesel was the first one to make it look cool after Andre and Big John.
Exactly.
So Diesel has a really good run of almost a year himself. That was he's AJ counting the hair flip and the clicks hand signal as moves. Okay. Now I can get behind that.
Right.
Yeah, so he holds it until the next Survivor Series. Brett actually got to win one at Survivor Series 95. Best match Diesel had during that run, in my opinion. The match with Taker at WrestleMania is a close second, but And also I do love the match he had with Shawn at In Your House after WrestleMania.
Okay, the
match.
Yeah, the no DQ match where he powerbombed Shawn through the tables and the damn monitor slapped him in the mouth.
And then he ripped Mad Dog Vachon's leg off.
Yep. Diesel's last match, I believe.
That was his last his last pay-per-view match. They did the curtain call after that. But
that's right.
But I remember I heard a story Nash told about that, and when he had Mad Dog down, he actually you can see him talking to him, and he said he was asking which leg because he didn't want to pull the wrong one and mess up his good leg.
That's great.
But no, yeah, but I love Diesel. He was such a badass back then. I like Nash and WCW too. The original, the NWO was. I liked the NWO up until they had a small army with 4 limos to get them to the arena every night. Like that first, after Savage, I think they should have stopped bringing people in.
Yep, they should have stopped right then and there. There was no need for BK Wall Street and Masahiro Chono and the Great Muta. You didn't need to have those guys in the NWO.
Now, Chono and Muta I get because they were NWO Japan. So it was
Japan,
Yeah, so them and Scott Norton and Buff would go to New Japan and do NWO there. But yeah, it's just overkill. The perfect faction is 5 people, I think. You can get away with 6.
6 if you got a lady.
Yeah. If you're super over 7, maybe. But that 7 is where they should have stopped with the NWO. That was when they got Savage. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, 4 or 5 is about all I need for a good faction, plus a lady.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It used to be when I would see them I would like fantasy book factions, I would say, okay, who's my tag team? Who's my main eventer? And this is back in the night, who's my cruiserweight? Who's my women's champion? That was how I would book factions in my head.
And that's the way whenever AJ books a faction, that's how he books actually. So that's genius.
He's a smart guy. Hey, when's AJ gonna get his own show on this network?
Exactly. AJ, I know you're listening.
We can make it happen. We can just do it on YouTube. It doesn't have to be a podcast. But
exactly.
I digress. So Brett wins the Survivor Series. I'm gonna get this back on the tracks if it kills me. Defends it against Taker and Diesel going into Mania. They do the Iron Man match with Shawn. There you see. That's not a handsome look. That's not a flattering pose there. I was not a big fan of this match, the Iron Man match with Shawn. It's kind of boring,
Right. It was boring, and then WrestleMania 12 in general sucked. So
it was rough. The Piper and Goldust thing took me. I love Piper and I love Goldust. They took me out of the whole show. The only good thing about that show was Diesel and Taker. If you ask me.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
and then it was a small Mania. It was like 6 matches.
It was really small because the Iron Man match took an hour, and so they had to account for that. That's why they had the 6-man in the opener with Owen and Bulldog, and Vader and Yoko, and that match was a freaking stinker. They could have. Shoot, that's why the Godwins and the Body Donnas were in the pre-show.
Yeah.
The tag titles. The tag team championship match didn't make it onto the card on WrestleMania.
Right.
First time ever, I think. How nuts is that?
Right, exactly. And it was, yeah.
Oh, AJ. Here I am taking a pizza out of the oven, minding my own business, getting called out, LMAO.
Well, you get with it, damn it.
we got to give you some shit there, AJ, every now and then. So Sean gets his boyhood dream. He actually has some really good matches during his title run.
He did.
Diesel, we talked about Diesel. The matches with the Bulldog were good. Of course, how can you not have a good match with Bulldog?
He and Bulldog at what was that? King of the Ring '96. God, it tore the fuck up. Yeah.
A little overbooked with Perfect being the other referee and then Owen on commentary, but Owen played his part so well.
Yeah, he did.
He was such a wise ass on commentary. It was awesome. But after that, I mean, there's the debacle with Vader at SummerSlam, which.
And Vader's actually on my list of guys who should have been champion, but Sean's a fucking crybaby. So
he was supposed to be. He was supposed to win that night and then drop it back to Sean at Survivor Series. I think, maybe.
Yeah, I've heard that story before. Yeah, I've heard that story before.
But yeah, so Sean just does a Mexican hat dance on Vader's face when he came off the top rope for the elbow, but he landed on his feet and kicked him. Like, fuck.
Yeah,
if I'm
Vader, him to fucking move.
Right. If I'm Vader, I just stand up and just knock the piss out of him there.
Knock the piss out of him and worry about what Vince got to say later.
What's Vince gonna do?
Exactly.
Because Vader was not afraid to potato somebody. That's Foley.
Yeah, and he let Sean get away with so much shit because he was scared of what would happen if he went backstage.
He didn't want him to go to WCW, so he didn't do what he wanted because I think Sean deep down wanted to go be with his buddies.
I think so too. At that time,
I think that was a part of it. I mean, I'm sure he enjoyed being the world champion, but yeah, I mean, I think he probably held that over Vince's head the whole time the NWO was going. It's like, I could just go over there.
Right, I can just go to fucking WCW. Fuck you in your championship.
Right. I mean, if he wanted to be a real asshole, he could have just gone over with the belt. Just show up like Medusa did.
Exactly. In the trash it would have went. And no, don't you ever throw that pretty thing away.
That's my gosh. I didn't like when Medusa did it to hers either.
No, yeah, that was so disrespectful.
I don't like
desecration of the championship. Yeah. Just don't do that to a championship.
Jimmy Jacobs did that with the IWA Mid-South Championship at an AAW show back in 2005. I saw I'm going to trigger AJ. Cardona did that with the ECW Television Championship on the GCW show in Chicago I was at. Because he was saying he was the greatest ECW legend of all time because he was in WWECW. And he dubbed himself the TV champion because he beat Rhino.
Right.
Because Rhino was the last television champion. The match wasn't for the title, but he just made himself the TV champion.
It was Cardona's world, so if it happened, then it must be true.
Right.
If he said it happened, then it must be true.
That's true. But yeah, Michaels, I could have seen him doing that. I don't want to say that about somebody because I know he's turned his whole outlook around. He's not a prick anymore. But nobody liked that guy back in the day in the locker room, except for Triple H.
Right. In the words of Mark Henry, you too little to talk shit.
Right. But when you got a heater like Nash behind you, you can say what you want.
Right.
And Nash was actually respected in the locker room. He wasn't doing the drugs and all that stuff. He was just there. But he bonded with Sean and Hall and Waltman, and those three guys were train wrecks. But him and Triple H were the ones that were like driving the car and going to the weight room in the morning while they were hungover. But anyway, we're getting off on a tangent. Yeah. All right, so we're getting off on a tangent. They like to do title switches at Survivor Series, Bari, because at Survivor Series 96, we get the man. There he is.
Fucking Sid. And I did not see that happening.
No.
Didn't see it happening.
How did you like the Jose Lothario heart attack angle?
It was interesting. 12-year-old me thought it was real. So
well, he was old, so you could. I mean, you never know. Look at Jerry Lawler; it could happen.
Exactly.
An old guy could have a heart attack in public. John McSherry, umpire in the major leagues, he actually had a heart attack and died on opening day one year on the field.
Yeah,
nuts. I couldn't believe it. It happened when I was at school. I came home and my dad said, "Yeah, John McSherry." Well, he said an umpire. He didn't say who it was because my dad doesn't know umpires' names. But he said, "Yeah, an umpire dropped dead on the field." I was like, I looked and like, holy crap, he had a heart attack. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility, but it was definitely done better than Fritz von Erich's heart attack in World Class back in the late '80s. But yeah, I like that they put the belt on Sid because, like you said, we didn't expect Sid was never like on anybody's radar to be the world champion, really. And again, it was solely so Sean could get the belt back in San Antonio.
Yeah, San Antonio, right? Which was a pretty good Rumble. It was a pretty good Rumble,
yeah, and it was a good match. Michaels had a good match.
Yeah, and I believe Michaels had the flu during that match.
Yeah, he was sick that day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not unheard of. Brett had, I think, strep in the cage with Owen at SummerSlam.
With Owen, SummerSlam '94. Yep.
So some of these guys, yeah, they know when pay-per-view night you go to work.
You work exactly, and if you don't work, guess what? You don't eat.
You don't get the money.
Exactly.
All about the money.
All about the money.
So. All right, so Sid drops the belt to Sean at San Antonio, and then Bari. Old Sean lost his smile. He was so full of shit. Was anybody buying that?
He was so full of shit to his ass stunk. And I remember watching this and was like, so you want to go home, huh? You want to go home? You want to go home? And then it became the next 6 weeks became the most bullshit of bullshit that we have ever seen surrounding the championship.
Yeah, it's let's see. So he doesn't want to do the job for Brett at Mania in the rematch, which is what it all boils down to.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Number one, doing that promo on Raw when he lost his smile and gave the belt up, he looked fucked up. You could see his face. His words were slurring and his eyes were glad. He looked like he'd taken some medicine before he went out there.
Some right in the words of Gene Okerlund, some recreational goodies.
Yeah, we'll call it recreational goodies. And so yeah, he drops the belt. Well, he forfeits the belt to Gorilla because Gorilla was still the president, you know.
Yeah.
And they do the whole Final Four thing with the last 4 guys in the Rumble in your house. Brett wins that. Next night, drops it back to Sid in the cage. Cuts the promo on Vince.
Which was pointless of him dropping. No, it wasn't the cage match that night. That was just a regular match between him and Sid. But it had to be started 3 times because Stone Cold kept attacking Brett.
Right. When he lost the smile, he should have lost his job. Jim Cornette. Oh man.
Damn right he should have.
Yeah, Corny has a lot of opinions about Shawn back in '96.
Yeah. He couldn't stand a little piss hand.
No. But no, going back to that, the hot potato that was the WWF Championship in early '97. So Brett wins at Final Four. Then there's Sid wins it in the match on Raw, was it?
Yep, the next night.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go 2 weeks and they have a rematch, and that's when Brett does the whole "this is bullshit" promo.
That's the cage. That's the cage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Sid retained it in the cage. It wasn't Brett losing it in the cage.
Right.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, but that was when Brett started doing the whole "I'm getting screwed all the time" business, and they started getting a little more edgy with the promo, saying bullshit and dropping all the swearing. You should have dropped an F-bomb just to see how far he could push it.
Exactly.
And, but yeah, so that's when we start getting the little sniffs at heel Brett, and Sid goes on his merry way to WrestleMania, and I forget how Taker got a title shot at.
I think he got it because he was the last man next to Brett in the Final Four match. So I think that's why he got it.
That makes sense then. Okay. So they have a hell of a match too.
Yeah, they do.
I wasn't wild about Brett interfering, but those two guys had a really good match. Mender's invoking the unholy name of Russo.
Right, that's a rumor and innuendo that he crapped his pants.
It's all rumor. Now we don't want to get sued.
Right.
No, so Taker, he wins the belt at Mania. Has a decent run for a few months.
Yeah, he had a good run, man. Yeah, he had a real good run. He had a decent ass match with Mankind the next month, and then he had I want to say he had
King of the Ring.
Farouk at King of the Ring, and then he had Austin, and then he had Vader at Stampede.
Yeah, that was the 4 matches that he had, and then the SummerSlam is when he dropped it to Brett when they were starting the Shawn heel turn and starting the whole DX thing. So Brett wins it back at SummerSlam for the last time. I think that was his 5th title win, and then the rest is history. He goes on, wrestles the Patriot. I'm not knocking the Patriot, but what a random choice. Is it just because he was a Patriot because Brett was doing the Canadian stuff?
Exactly. It's because it was USA and Canada. That's why the Patriot.
Our heated geopolitical rival Canada. Just throw in the word allegedly a few times and legally you're in the clear. It's all good. Okay. Good to know.
Oh, thank you, AJ. AJ the Greco, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. It reminds me, Bari, of Survivor Series 93. It was the All-Americans of Lugers, the Steiners, and Taker against the Foreign Fanatics. And it was Ludwig Borga, Finland, Quebecer Jacques, obviously from Canada. Then you got Crush, who's from Hawaii. He's not foreign. He's just managed by Fuji. And then Yoko, who's a Samoan who's representing Japan. It's not exactly global adversaries in that match.
Right.
That's when you miss the old days when all your foreign heels were German or Russian.
Exactly.
Bring back Volkov for one night, for God's sake.
Where's Saito when you need him?
Saito, yeah. Get Koloff. But they never signed Nikita, which always kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. But anyway, back to Brett doing the heel stuff. And I loved heel Brett in 97. The Hart Foundation was the shit to me.
Yeah, they were.
Putting them with Pillman and Owen. AJ, yeah. Potentially Yugoslavian.
See what he did there?
Yeah, if you want context, you got to check out the 0-1 Shootout on your favorite podcast platforms every Wednesday. But yeah, the group was almost perfect. You had Anvil as the heater. Bulldog and Owen were both still at the top of their game at that point. Pillman, I love Pillman. It's
right. He was just batshit crazy.
Yeah, even though he couldn't do what he used to because of the ankle, but still, he was great. The promos, he was great as their spokes guy. I guess the story was that originally Don Callis was to be their manager.
Oh.
I think that was Brett's idea, but then it wound up falling through. They put him with the Truth Commission, which was great for his career. But I digress.
Jackal much?
The Jackal. Oh, him and Kurgan. Although, best advice Callis ever gave Kurgan was, don't let Vince see you dance. But then Kurgan was stubborn, and they were at a party, he was dancing with his wife, and then Vince got a light bulb. And then here come the oddities.
Here come the oddities. That whole thing.
Which, as we discussed, they would be over like Rover with Tony Khan right now in AEW. They would be the biggest act in the company right now.
Well, definitely. Well, he's got that with Jared and the big dummy.
Zippy.
Yeah. The big fucking giant.
how Tony could make me not care about Jay Lethal, FTR, or Mark Briscoe is a miracle to me. But by golly, he did it.
Yeah, he did it.
And it's just in this angle, because put them anywhere else and I'm in. I'm good. Yeah, AJ, the oddies have best friend's job. I don't think they could fit in Sue's minivan, though.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. But God, Goga as the international champion, why not?
There you go. He can't be pinned. He's got a humpback.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, getting away from the oddities. So we're dancing around the Montreal screw job. Bari, cards on the table. Whose side do you take in the Montreal screw job?
Brother, and that actual Survivor Series, I remember watching that live with my best friend and his uncle. And when that shit happened, it was like everybody in the house was like, "What just went down? Like, was that supposed to happen? Is this real?" And so, yeah, no. Seeing what I've seen, all the documentaries and everything, I gotta side with Vince. You're not taking my belt somewhere else to go show it off. No, you're gonna drop it here, or I'm gonna take it from you.
I agree. It's like, even if Brett told Vince he wouldn't do it, I mean, Vince had been burned before. I mean, Medusa did it to him, so
exactly
he can't take him at his word there.
Right.
Yeah, it's just old school business. You know, if you're going out, you put the other guy over.
You put the other guy over.
You to put him over. And Brett doing the whole "I can't lose in Canada" is just a huge cop out to me.
That's all it is right there. Like, ridiculous. Yeah, like, this is your last night. You need to drop this. You need to drop the belt.
and Brett, you know, he's a second generation guy. You know, he knows how the tradition is. I'm sure Stu had to do that with his champions in Stampede too, if somebody was leaving. So, I mean, it's just it really kind of soured me on Brett for a long time when they did that. And then goes to WCW. Vince tells him that they won't know what to do with him, which, he was right. Then, big kicker heard around the world. And Brett had like, what, a 20 some odd year contract with Vince that Vince couldn't pay.
Yeah.
So that's why he left. And if he would have stuck around, who knows? Maybe we get Brett and Austin at Mania. Maybe we get Brett and The Rock down the road. Triple H.
God, right? How good those matches would have been.
Who knows? Maybe him and Owen keep teaming up, and we don't ever get the Blue Blazer, and then things
exactly.
change,
I was gonna say, we probably still have Owen around if Brett never went to WCW.
Yeah. This week, as we know, the anniversary of Owen's accident ended over the edge. So, it's something to think about too. That was the day I graduated high school, May 23rd, 1999.
Wow.
And that's the only reason I didn't watch the show, because my buddy had said he was going to get the pay-per-view after graduation was over, but we had family over and all that, so I had to stay there. So I wound up not going over there. But it's just crazy to think about. And but anyway, so that's our little tangent on the Montreal screw job. Michaels gets the belt. Hurts his back in the casket match, and looking at that bump on the casket, that hurts me. I
actually had that same injury that HBK had, and I had to have that same kind of surgery. So I know what kind of pain he was in.
Yeah. Man, if he would have just taken
that next day until he had surgery, was, oh my God! I watched that spot every time. I just cringed. I know how he feels.
Yeah, it's like, because he didn't wrestle again until Mania.
Yeah,
he was just seeing doctors and all that. If he would have just taken a flat back on that casket, who knows? Maybe we never had that problem. And
exactly.
I'll say this though: we talk a lot of shit about Sean on this episode about this era, but he came to work at Mania.
Yeah, he did.
You could see in his face he was miserable in that match with Austin. Every time
again, like the bending up and trying to pick something up. I know how he feels. So watching that match, I'm there with him.
And he's doing hip ups and flying elbows and all that stuff with a broken back. I don't want to say impressive, but it is admirable that he went out there. But so he drops the belt, and here we see him. There you see Stone Cold at Mania. This is the last night of the championship, because the next night on Raw they retired it for the Big Eagle. But
March 14th, 98.
29th.
I believe. 29th.
March 14th was WrestleMania 20.
Okay.
Don't ask me why I know that.
I knew it was one of them.
Right. So Austin wins the Winged Eagle, so he's officially the last person to hold it. Next night they retire it. It makes another appearance though in September when Vince is going to present the belt to either Taker or Kane. And they do the Zamboni spot. That was the belt that was in the case. It wasn't the Big Eagle there.
Yeah.
Which
Yep.
Actually, I had to go back. I did kind of a double take when that happened. I was like, wait, that's not the regular belt. That's it. That's the Winged Eagle. But they never wound up going back to it. I know. Well, I say they didn't. Technically, they did. About 6-7 months later. Nope, not there. There we go. They get the Hardcore Championship.
Yeah.
And there was a theory going around for years, Bari, that this belt came from that.
This belt, yeah.
When Mr. Perfect smashed up Hogan's belt. That is not the case. That is not the belt that they used. But that's one of the things that from the time that Hardcore Championship debuted on TV, people were saying, "Oh, that's the belt that Perfect smashed up." Like, no, I'm sure a collector has that one somewhere.
Yeah, that's the story they're going with anyhow.
I think that would be an interesting thing for that Hidden Treasure show on A&E. Try to find that belt. Even though watching that show made me really mad at Sonny Ono.
Yeah.
Such a friggin' hustler. But yeah, so they bring the Winged Eagle back for the Hardcore Championship for its run and all that. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the controversy around Perfect smashing up the belt. We talked a little bit last episode about spray painting the belt and how we don't like it. I did not like this angle. I didn't like that they smashed the belt up there.
No, I didn't even. Right, as a child, that broke my heart watching this beautiful championship be destroyed.
Yeah. Look at that. That's just wrong. And and that was around the time I was starting to cool on Hogan, but I felt bad for Hogan when he came back with Mean Gene and Mean Gene gave him
that promo of him holding it and Perfect. You're cutting me to the bone, man.
Yeah. That's so wrong. And I love Perfect, but come on, that was bad news.
Yeah, it was.
All right. Well, that one, the lineage took a little bit of time there, Barry, but we got some more stuff to discuss here. Our usual, that's our usual. This is our second show. We always talk about our favorite notable feuds for the belt. I've got 4 that really stand out to me.
Okay.
As far as like the real notable feuds that really got the belt over. First one, obviously Hogan and Macho from '89. Because that was the first time we really saw Hogan chase the championship.
Exactly.
Because in '84 he didn't really chase. He showed up, and 2 weeks later he beat the Sheik for the title. There wasn't really any build up to that.
Exactly. Showed up and kicked ass.
Yeah. The Bret Shawn feud from '97, obviously, just the story around it and everything that makes it very memorable. Yoko and Luger from '93 when Luger was doing the Lex Express and the bus tour before SummerSlam. And it kind of goes along. Speaking of American patriots who don't quite beat a Samoan for the world title, it's very similar to Cody and Roman.
Yeah,
if you think about it.
We see it again. Right. We see it again 30 years later.
But no, that was a big deal because that was. I remember watching when they did the thing on the Intrepid with all the guys trying to slam Yoko.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Yeah.
I think Luger wearing cowboy boots in a wrestling ring on a boat might have been a bad call because he had no footing whatsoever in there.
None.
Remember when he jumped off the turnbuckle and landed on? He staggered 5 feet before he got his feet back under him again.
Exactly.
He almost did a face. He almost did a flop on his face after the biggest thing in his whole run. That would have
exactly.
He would have Titused himself.
This is a wrestling ring? Did you forget this is a wrestling ring on a big ass ship?
Yeah, and those wrestling rings are always moving, from what I understand. I've never been in one, but yeah, he would have Titus O'Neilled himself if he would have done that, and that would be the only thing people like the Shockmaster and that kind of level of fail, And then, But the other one that I got is Brett and Owen from '94. When
Okay,
after WrestleMania, going into the cage match, which is my favorite cage match, by the way, because they made it look like they got the idea that you need to get out of the cage. Every time they got somebody down, they were going for the door, or they were trying to get over the top rope. So they understood the premise of the cage match. I'm sorry, the WWE cage match. I still prefer the old school ones where it's pinfall or submission and
same here.
ribbons. So, what do you got, Bari, for your favorite feuds?
I have a couple of feuds. I'm gonna go early on in the game, and I'm gonna go with Savage and Bad News Brown.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that one.
Again, I was a youngster at the time, but I went back since then, and I've watched some of their matches, and man, they tore it the hell up, and they told a story.
Bad News doesn't get his due.
Exactly, and I feel like at some point, Bad News should have beat Savage for the title, even if it was a short run. He should have beat him for the title.
Bad News had said in interviews before he died that he had been promised the World Championship, but I don't know. That might have been hyperbole. It might not have been the case. Maybe that's how he interpreted something that he was told.
Exactly.
But yeah, he went. I think he went to his grave thinking that he was promised the WWF Championship at one point. But he wasn't there very long. He was only there for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, maybe 2 or 3 years. Yeah, he was there. So
yeah, like WrestleMania 4 through SummerSlam '90, I think, is what it was.
Exactly.
But, no, that's a good one though.
That's a real good one. Another one that I enjoyed, and it was short lived because the champion was an asshole. The Vader and Shawn feud. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Nobody, because knowing where Vader had come from in WCW and how much of a damn monster he was there, I expected the same thing from him in WWE, and it wasn't the case.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't. In hindsight, it wasn't the same Vader that it was in WCW.
Right.
He was a little more out of shape.
Right. And then he had that bad shoulder and everything. So yeah, it wasn't the same guy.
Right. But I would have loved to see him just tear Shawn apart and take the belt off of him and hold it for a bit.
Yes.
Still, I think best monster heel of all time, Vader. You know.
Yeah. Without a doubt. And we'll get a chance to discuss him one of these days. So.
Oh yeah. We'll get to. He's held other belts.
Yeah, he have. Another feud that I enjoyed, and it led nowhere, but it was still enjoyable to me. The whole Taker versus the Nation of Domination.
Oh, from King of the Ring.
From King of the Ring, and how it was supposed to be Ahmed, but he got hurt, and then it ended up being Farouk.
Right. Yeah, which is probably a blessing.
Yeah.
if I'm picking between the two to work with, I'm picking Simmons over Ahmed Johnson every day.
Every day, and twice on Sunday.
Big T in Harlem Heat, if you remember.
God. Slammer League, right? Slammer League 2000, anybody?
Yeah, the whole New Blood Rising business.
Yeah, all that. So, but no, it was
2000 is so cringy.
Right, yeah. It was still entertaining for what it was worth, and Taker and Farouk had a pretty good match at King of the Ring.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a hell of a list. I like how you went a little outside the box with that, because I would not have thought about Savage and Bad News.
Yeah.
It's one of those. If Bad News really wanted the belt, he could have just knocked Savage out.
Yeah, if he really just wanted it, he would have judo chopped him in the damn jaw.
He's in that Haku category of like legit badasses back then that were in the WWF.
Yeah.
All right, Bart. Let's talk about favorite matches. Most of mine we've actually discussed already. Hogan Savage at Mania, Bret and Shawn at '92 Survivor Series. Like I said, best one they ever had. Let me see. Warrior and Rude in the cage. We talked about it, even though it's kind of traumatizing because my mom really enjoyed the spot when they yanked Rude's trunks down.
Right.
When I was a kid. But
when they asked him.
Yeah, they asked him. Then the cage match with Brett and Owen, SummerSlam. We talked about that a little bit. That's the one where Brett had strep throat. And then Shawn and Mankind at Mind Games. We haven't talked about this match a whole lot.
Yeah, that was a good match too.
I would say this is the best match Shawn had during his title run in '96.
Yeah, it's right. It's like he actually cooperated with Mick, and they had a good match.
Yeah, I mean, everybody likes Mick though, but I think it helps that Mick was willing to do whatever Shawn wanted to do, and that they did.
That makes sense too.
Yeah, but there were some good spots, like when Shawn's going for a snapmare and Mick tries to put the mandible claw on. That's just smart. That's just good psychology.
Yeah,
he's trying to go, and then Shawn trying to break the fingers so he can't put the claw on. It was psychologically just a really good match.
Exactly. Yeah, it was well thought out.
The finish was overbooked with Vader and Sid and Taker coming out.
Right. Well, I mean, you had to get there somehow.
That's true. But no, that is a really good match, and I think Foley said that was his favorite match that he ever had, which is really saying something. So
yeah, that is. Yeah.
All right. So what do you think, Bari? What are your favorite matches?
Again, you know me. I always step outside the box a little bit, so I got a couple of hidden gems here.
It'd be no fun if we had the same ones.
Exactly, and you and I think the same, so
right.
you know.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with one of my personal favorites. It's going to be Hogan and Bossman in the cage in the main event with Zeus.
I love it.
Yeah,
loved it.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
That's back when I was
still a Hogan fan. Yeah, I was still a Hogan fan, and I wanted to, and he got beat down in the beginning by Zeus, but then he made a comeback, and then they had the big spot. They had the big suplex on top of the cage. Bossman and Hogan did, and yeah, it was
I thought they were both dead when they did that superplex.
Yeah, because they landed hard as hell.
Oh, Menders, you two share a brain. I'm starting to see that. Great minds think alike, right, Bari?
Exactly. Always.
Yes.
So yeah, that was a good one. Another good one. We're gonna jump a few years ahead to the new generation. Bret Hart and the 1, 2, 3 Kid on Monday Night Raw.
Yes, I love that match. I can't believe I forgot that. That was on Raw too.
And I was such a Bret Hart fan, but like the Kid went there and busted his ass, and I was like, man, maybe the Kid will win. Maybe we'll get the 1, 2, 3 Kids the WWF champion. Like it felt like he had a hell of a chance.
Yeah, I really liked the 1, 2, 3 Kid back in the day.
Yeah, me too.
I was a kid too. He wasn't much older than us.
Yeah, but, very true.
But he could work with everybody. Even the WCW, I liked his run there when he was working like Flair and Guerrero and guys like that.
Yeah.
So, it's like I think Vince used him as the barometer. Whenever somebody would come in, he'd put them with Waltman just to see what they had. I know he did that with Jericho.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and then that's a really good one though.
Right, and then I have one more. That's a hidden gem. We're gonna go to 1996, and we're gonna Shawn Michaels' reign. I want to say it was right before SummerSlam. He and Goldust had a hell of a match on Raw. Yeah, Goldust won a battle royal to become #1 contender, and then the next week or the next 2 weeks, they ended up having a banger of a match. Yeah, this was right. This was young Dustin Rhodes, young Shawn Michaels, and they were going. Yeah.
No, that was the one I wish they would have brought to pay-per-view a little bit, was him and Goldust, because they could have had a pretty entertaining feud.
They really could. Yeah, they really could. As flamboyant as Goldust was, and then as boy toyish as Shawn was, yeah, that could have been controversial and
Goldust could have had a field day. He could have had a field day with Michaels in promos.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about our favorite matches, Bari. We have to talk about our least favorites because there are some bad ones out there. My list mostly between 93 and 94. I mean, let's be honest. Hogan and Yoko at the King of the Ring. Not a knock on Yoko, just it was short. The finish was weird with the photographer and the fire.
The photographer, exactly, which was Harvey Whippleman, by the way.
Yeah, in a disguise. So we don't know if that was supposed to be him working or if that was just him like playing being the photographer for the angle.
Exactly.
Let's see. I put Savage and Flair from Mania 8 on here just for the Gaga, for the overbooking with Perfect and Liz, But we talked about that one enough. Brett and oh yeah, sorry, wrong one. That was the wrong one. I put that's on my favorites. But where do I? Oh, I was looking wrong. I'm having a long day.
It happens, brother.
Hogan, Yoko, back when Brett Survivor Series. Outside of the finish, it was a snooze fest.
It was so boring. Exactly.
The best thing about the match was Owen.
Yeah.
Then you get the big two, Diesel and Sid from In Your House, the lumberjack match.
Stinker.
The only time Techno Team 2000 ever got a pay-per-view payday.
Yeah.
And then the following month, Diesel and Mabel at SummerSlam when Mabel almost killed Diesel.
Oh! I take your Mabel and Diesel, and I raise you Diesel and Bulldog the next month.
Oh.
Oh. The only good thing about that match was Jim Cornette's elbow he gave Diesel. That was it.
Oh yeah. Good old corny.
Oh boy, you're talking about a stink fest right there. Some people just don't go together, and Diesel and Bulldog are two people who just didn't go together.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine Bulldog having a bad match with anybody.
Exactly.
But, it's just chemistry is a very real thing in wrestling. So you could pick the two best of all time, and if they don't have chemistry, it's going to be a stinkeroo. Look at Hogan Flair.
Exactly. I'm going to go with a match I just seen a few days ago, actually. It was a Madison Square Garden match, a WWF Championship match between champion Ric Flair and challenger Intercontinental Champion Roddy Piper. It should have been a whole lot better than it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go again. Chemistry.
It's almost like those who went out there and said, "Yeah, we're just going to wing it."
Yeah, probably because they'd wrestled 100 times 15 years before that, and then maybe there was a little rust there, like they just trying to recapture the magic,
Exactly. Oh God, what is it? I had one more. It was a Bret Hart match, and I never think Bret Hart matches are stinkers.
It wasn't Jean-Pierre Lafitte, was it?
No, that was that match stunk up the joint too over a damn leather jacket.
That wasn't a title match. That wasn't a title match though.
No, it wasn't. I can't remember it right now, so we'll just
Why is Menders bringing up Joey O'Reilly versus Sabin Gage? Wrong podcast, Menders.
Yeah, wrong podcast. You leave right.
That was yesterday.
You leave those boys alone now. They try hard.
All right. So, greatest matches. Again, we talked about most of these. Hogan and Warrior, WrestleMania 6 was really good. Hogan Savage from WrestleMania 5. Again, these are the Hogan's two best matches of Warrior's best match. I got a couple Diesels on here. Brett and Diesel from Survivor Series 95 when Brett beat him.
Okay. Their first match at King of the Ring 94 wasn't. Okay, I got
analogy accepted. They had three really good matches in that title run with Diesel. Well, the first one was Brett as champion at King of the Ring 94. But then Rumble 95 and Survivor Series 95 when Diesel was defending against Brett. They were all excellent matches.
Exactly. Again, that Rumble 95 match saved the show. So.
Yep. Although, admittedly, overbooked all to hell with Backlund and Owen and Michaels and Double J coming out and running in 5 times. But the referee, they made sense of it. The referee said, I could stop this match, but I'm just going to keep it going. Made it seem important that there has to be a winner. Until finally, like, 10 guys jumped in the ring, and they're like, fuck it, I got to throw it out. I got to throw that on there. Diesel and Shawn from In Your House, Good Friends, Better Enemies, after WrestleMania 12. Just awesome. I think my favorite Diesel match, possibly. Again, you could tell that Shawn was willing to work with Diesel, make him look good on the way out. And he did. He bumped like a motherfucker for Diesel in that match.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. And then my other one, also kind of outside the box, the 92 Rumble. It's a title match. So
yeah, it's a title match, yeah. Yep.
So I got to throw that in there.
Yeah. I have to agree with all your picks right there. They're all fantastic matches.
I've been asked for the Jumping the Rail pod to actually do a review of the 92 Rumble match. So if we do that, I may have to bring you in, Bari, to contribute.
Let's have some fun with it.
I'll let you know when. If I could find a copy of the video that won't get me kicked off YouTube for playing it on the show, then I'll use it. But I think I got in a little hot water last episode with the Triple H video that I posted that I put on here. I got an email like during the show. It's like your YouTube feed has been blocked because it was a WWE video. Like WWE published that video on YouTube, so that all the protections. I wasn't paying attention, so that was my fault. Anybody that got blacked out on the last episode, that was my fault. So yeah, if I can find one that WWF didn't put on YouTube, then we'll put that on there too. All right, Bari, run them down for me. What's your if you had to pick your greatest, what do you got?
Greatest matches? Well, hell, you've already named so many of them already.
I'm sorry.
No, but I remember seeing a Bret Hart Randy Savage match. I think they happened in England.
Yes,
that was
I've
really
seen
good.
that match. It was on Macho's DVD.
Yep. That was really good.
There's also a really good match with Michaels on there. It had Sherry and Liz at ringside, which was fun.
Yep. God, let me see. Like I said, because you've named all the good stuff. Warrior and DiBiase had a very entertaining match on the main event.
Okay. Was that the same night of shit? I don't remember what the big match was on there. Because Hogan had a match on there also.
Yeah. I want to say it was the blow off with him and Earthquake.
Is that the one with him and Bossman? Okay, maybe it was Earthquake. Because
I think. I'm not sure.
I'll have to do some digging on that and find that out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, but continue, please.
There was a very early on in Shine's reign. He had a championship match against Triple H that was really good. Well, Triple H was still Hunter Helmsley, but they had a pretty good match.
Okay. I vaguely remember that one.
And I'm trying to think. Like I said, you named off all the good ones already. So
next time I'll let you go first.
Yeah, who else? Brett had a pretty good match with, and I know it's going to sound crazy, but Brett and Virgil was pretty good.
Virgil he was a decent worker. He was never going to be megastar, you know.
Exactly. But he can put on a watchable match.
Yeah. Did we talk about, not on the show, but just in conversation about how when they were picking their new generation champion that there was talk that it was going to be Tito Santana? Yes, we talked about that. In hindsight, man, I if just lose the Matador gimmick and let him do it, I would have been happy with it. Right,
exactly. Right. Let him come out with the old theme music and everything. The old attire, the white attire and all.
Even bring back the blue trunks from like WrestleMania 3, you know?
Oh yeah. That would have been interesting, actually.
Yeah, it would have been kind of outside because he was kind of out of the. He was never really considered for the world title in his career. He's always the IC guy,
Yeah.
and then doing the tag team stuff. But that would have been interesting. All right, Barry, let me ask you this. We got a couple more things, then we're gonna get out of here. Top 5 champions to hold the belt. We did this last episode also. So
Top
I'll
5.
let you go first this time.
My top
first.
5 champions. Number 1 is Brett, of course. Number 2, Taker. Number 3, Yoko.
Okay.
Number 4, Diesel. Number 5, Sean.
Okay. Now, I got a couple of those. I love Diesel's run. I love Yoko's run, but they did not make my list. I got, and again, I go by number of times holding the belt.
Right,
so I got Hogan.
And with me, it's just the stuff I remember.
Just yeah, I get that. That's good. I like it. I got Hogan, 6-time champion. Brett 5 times. Macho Man, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, both 2 times, all 2 times. And then Yoko, honorable mention because he was also 2 times. But yeah, so that's my top 5. The juicy debate that always goes around, Bari, is who were the best wrestlers to never hold the Winged Eagle? During that time when it was all baby faces all the time, Hogan and Warrior had a stranglehold on it. Who would be your guys to hold that belt? Oh, AJ, shame on you. Hogan.
Jesus Christ. Somebody taking the stone from him now.
Yeah.
No, my number 1 guy who never held the championship is going to be Mr. Perfect.
Yes. And I actually have pictures for this one because I want to see how many of these match. There's look at that. Somebody photoshopped this with the,
that looks good.
Winged Eagle there. That looks natural. That looks right.
Yeah. And again, he could have easily had a reign that wasn't long, and it could have added more character to Hogan at the time, and it could have worked. Or even because Perfect also he feuded with Warrior too, so either time would have been fine.
Yeah, very briefly after WrestleMania. Yeah, between WrestleMania and when he won the IC title, I think they had a couple matches.
Yeah.
After fucking Beefcake beat him.
Must be nice to be Hogan's buddy.
Uh-huh.
My number 2 guy is gonna have to be and this is just at this point now it's in no particular order, but my number 2 guy, Ted DiBiase. He should have had a legit run with it.
Yep, there he is. Look at that.
Yeah. Again, it looks natural.
Yes.
And then of course Rick Rude.
I had to get creative with Photoshop for a couple of these.
Oh, I love that. My number 4 guy is Vader.
Okay, I don't have Vader's picture on here, but I definitely.
It's okay.
I would have been if they would have got Vader in '92, then he would have just run roughshod. But I think he liked working in Japan.
Exactly.
They let him do that.
Yeah, exactly.
If we ever do an episode on the Triple Crown, I'm going to have my work cut out for me with homework because I'll have to research 3 belts.
Right. Same here. And then and then only because his character fell flatter than a plate full of piss after he didn't win. Lex Luger.
There's the cornyisms. I've been waiting for a cornyism from you. Better than Kelsey's nuts, as he says.
Yeah.
All right. You got anybody else?
That's all I got.
All right. Well, I got 3 to add to that. Well, 4 to add to that. Number 1, just because there's a picture that's kind of been cruising around the internet of just backstage at a show once. I think he was just holding onto the belt for a picture. You got Barry Windham.
Oh, I never even thought about that.
Yeah. He was never really in the mix for the world title. Then he was there. It wasn't very long doing the Widowmaker thing in '89 before he went back to Crockett and Turner and all them. But look at when he came back to WCW, and then he got the NWA title, and It would have been cool to see him get the WWF title, but I don't think it would have been a real good fit at the time. But it's one of those, if he would have been around in like the early 80s, he would have gotten over huge as that big baby face that can work, you know. I agree 100% on Perfect and Rude. I'm going to throw a couple other ones at you. Hot Rod, Roddy Piper.
Hot Rod, yeah. Didn't need it, but it would have been nice.
No, didn't need it. I would say more the Hogan 85 than the Winged Eagle on the whole, but just to get him the world title, I would have been fine with the Winged Eagle. Here's a big one, Razor Ramon.
He was honorable. He was honorable mention for me.
Man, he had everything that Vince wants in a world champion, but I don't know if it was reliability issues, if it was Shawn and Diesel saying, "No, keep it on us. Don't put it on Scott." I don't believe that would have happened. I think Diesel would have gone out of his way to get Scott the push. But yeah, he's a big guy. He could work, looked good, cut a good promo, Cuban accent notwithstanding. But yeah, he would have been I think he would have made for a fine champ if he would have stuck around. If he would have stayed and not gone to WCW, I think he would have got it eventually.
Yeah.
But and then the last one I've got here, and this is just a picture somebody took at a house show in '94
of Owen. I knew you'd say Owen. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That would have been dope too.
Oh yeah. The fact that he beat Bret at Mania, it would have been so good. Just if they could have used that, say, oh, they kind of did for the angle, but they should have had Owen beat him and then hold on to it for a few months, and then you could tell the story. Hey, Bret can't beat me, and then finally do the cage at SummerSlam and have Bret beat him. Which, by the way, also maybe my favorite post-match cage beatdown ever was Anvil and Owen beating the piss out of Bret and everybody trying to climb the cage.
God, they kept not even before that, Mark, when when Anvil attacked Bulldog and he knocked Bulldog and Diana both over the
and Diana. Yeah. That was Bulldog's comeback. He had just returned to the company because he'd been WCW.
Yeah. He knocks him both over the damn rail.
And of course, Bruce Hart trying to get himself over the whole time. Because that's what Bruce does.
Yeah, nobody give a damn about Bruce Hart. Sit down somewhere, Bruce.
No.
He was everywhere.
But no, all around, like I said, that's my favorite cage match of all time. Bret and Owen in SummerSlam. Let's see here. I think that's all the business I've got to tend to here, Bari. We're going to try and keep this to every other week, I think we discussed, for you out there. I don't know. I'm liking the 6 o'clock, Bari.
Okay.
Maybe this is the way to go. I know we're still fiddling with the days. We did Friday last time. We're doing Thursday today. We'll figure that out. It might just depend on schedules.
Right. That's because we've got a busy weekend this weekend.
That's right. And yeah, and then like I said, I think we'll stick with the 6 o'clock. Like I said, this doesn't drop on podcast. It's solely on YouTube. I mean, you can watch it on Facebook Live like as it airs, but then you want to see it after that. It's got to be on YouTube. I believe, sir, I gave you the choice of the next episode to pick the belt that we discussed. Have you thought about that at all yet, or are you going to make us wait a little bit?
I thought about it a little bit, and I think that maybe us doing a discussion about the United States Championship may be fun.
Okay, which one? There are a couple of iconic ones there.
There are a couple of iconic ones. Let's do the lineage of the NWA/WCW.
The Luger belt.
Yes, the Luger.
The one from like 86 to 91, I believe.
Yes.
I am down for that. That's one of my favorites. So we will do that.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Let me pay the bills real quick before we get out of here, Bari. Let me see. I don't have all the pictures on here, but that's all right. You can see it behind me. ProWrestlingTees.com/JTRPod for your t-shirts for the Jumping the Rail Podcast Network. Also on www.brainbustertees.com/other/JTR-podcast-network. T-shirts, hats, fanny packs, sweatshirts, stickers, all kinds of good stuff there for
all that good stuff.
For the Jumping the Rail podcast and for the 0-1 shootout. I'm working on getting some stuff for Gold Rush on there. I'm in the design phase right now. Next Tuesday on Jumping the Rail podcast at 6:00 p.m. You can see that on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll be talking about all the pay-per-views going on this weekend between Double or Nothing, Night of Champions, Battleground, Underseat. There's all kinds of stuff on this weekend across all the companies. So we'll have plenty to talk about there. Then, if you're a fan of 0-1 USA, if in the Central Illinois area on Wednesday, the 0-1 shootout, we'll be joined by former heavyweight champion Jake Lander. And then, after that, it will be until the next episode of Gold Rush when you'll see us again. And like Bari said, we'll be talking about the Luger U.S. title belt from the late 80s. So that'll be a good time. Bari, you got anything you want to add before we get out of here this evening? We went a little long. We went a couple hours, which I'm not complaining about.
Hey, it was a pleasure. It was fun. I can't wait to do it again.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, then for Bari, this is Reb, and we will see you in 2 weeks. I'll remind you all, life is hard, work stiff, and we will see you guys later.